I don't know who needs to hear this, but the enemy will try his hardest to make sure you don't see this video. To help guide your ways, a stepping stone, however you like to see it. And this topic is gluttony slash lust. And I'll read you a small portion of a chapter in Philippians, chapter 3, verse 19. And I do encourage you to read the full chapter as well, but this snippet I do want to actually talk about. So, chapter 3, verse 19 of Philippians. Their destiny is destruction. Their God is their stomach, and their glory is in their shame. Their mind is set on earthly things. So essentially what it is talking about is you're setting your sights, you're revolving around the lusting after food and trying to satisfy your fleshly desires over what needs to be done spiritually. Obviously, we're not perfect, and God knows that. He still called you, but this is not a license to sin. That's not what I'm encouraging. I'm encouraging you to think about the actions of foods, like comfort foods that some may have. Not everyone may have one. And some may just grow out of a comfort food. It's like, hey, you know what, I'm over that. But what I'm getting at is what identifiable triggers do you have that will make you want to go eat? Are you stressing over something? Are you upset over something that you just want to eat? And that may lead to more stress and pressure, like, oh, I'm now getting on this section of how my body image looks, like as in being heavier. I'm not saying idolize your body figure, no, don't take that the wrong way, but you're satisfying something that was overdone, right? And if you go to Proverbs chapter 23 as well, that one also has one as well. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to talk to you about Philippians chapter 3:19. You're satisfying something by overdoing, obviously. And when I went to law enforcement and taking classes, I had a officer who was a sergeant, a retired sergeant, and he came in and she knew my teacher. She was also a sergeant for the same police department. Super cool, love them both. So, and this is what I tell my best friends as well, who work in like security or things in general. And I said, and tell him, because, and I'll tell him what he told me. He's like, fortune favors the prepared mind. Obviously, like thinking like, hey, what would this happen if this scenario happens? But ultimately go to our Heavenly Father and ask for guidance. And I was like, oh, Heavenly Father, like, this, and this. And then stop. You're not realistically getting anything out of it. You're not actually spending quality time praying like, hey, I feel tempted to eat food, like unhealthy snack food, or overindulge in a certain food. And if you feel like that, like, I recommend, like, take a smaller portion and have that, like, a small snack. I know, like, like Doritos or potato chips, like, oh, dude, this stuff tastes good, and just, you don't realize how much you eat, dang. But I'm just encouraging you to identify the triggers that you have and ask God to help you overcome this. He will do it. He never will back down on a promise. Just like how he promised never to flood the earth again like he did in Noah's time, and the covenant he had was the sign of the rainbow. And look, to this day, he still has not flooded the earth. Do you really think he's gonna really just throw you off to the side like, oh, this one right here? Nah, not worth it. Don't listen to lies of the enemy, because he will love to keep you trapped and keep you down. Because he would love to see you sin and drag him down with you. I said that wrong. He would love to drag you with him down to hell. Do what you can to resist the temptation and lusting after food and overeat and commit gluttony. I know it may be difficult for some if you have a family history of that. Even with alcohol. That's another one. That's another easy one to get into if you have alcoholism in your family like my family does. Both sides have alcoholism. Primarily on my dad's side. And it's a struggle. And he came through to help guide me away from that. And he can do it for you. He still continues working through me to help me. Because there was some days I'm really tempted to open some alcohol that I still have yet to actually not have any. Throw it away. But again, if you do have alcohol, set a limit or have someone help you. I'm not encouraging you to just indulge. I'm not encouraging you to do anything. I strongly more encourage you not to do it. But if you do go out for a drink, set a limit, have someone you can trust. Say, I can only let myself to this amount. Let's say, you can do 5 shots or 5 drinks. Say, I'm going to do 2 or 1. Now, I'm not saying, go ahead and sin. I'm not licensed. That's not a license to sin or anything. I'm letting you know. Go to God whenever. I even will tell you too, don't even go to places that have these temptations that you struggle with. Of, hey, I like, going to McDonald's or going to Subway or Wendy's or something, right? And you like going to these places, right? But if you so happen to find yourself going, what is your reason of doing this? Ask yourself that question. If you're for all the wrong reasons, go to God. If you're doing hey, it's been 5 months ago since the last started. Okay, well, first off, smaller portions, and by then, your tastes may change. You know what? I'm glad I got off that. And I'd like to read you another chapter of Proverbs 23, verse 19 through 21. Listen, my son, and be wise, and set your heart on the right path. Do not join those who drink too much wine or gorge themselves on meat. For drunkards and gluttons become poor, and drowsiness clouds their rags. Essentially saying is you're forming bondage on yourself and building a chain on both of the chapters I have said that I read to you. And the enemy will disguise it as hey, we haven't had this, whatever food or drink you haven't had. Maybe we should, try a little. He would never say directly how he did in the Garden of Eden with Eve. You do what you can. And I do recommend you read that too. And Genesis chapter 3, Genesis chapter 4. Just read those 2 chapters, right? And you will see them. And it can be tempting to, like, listen to that thought. And if it sounds like something that sounds pleasing, it's like, hey, you know what? You haven't had this. Identify, like, is it, if you don't know if it's from God or not, ask, go to God. It's like, oh, you hear that, like, hey, we shouldn't do this. Let's do something different, or something that won't tempt you into something, and then you overindulge. God will send something encouraging to strengthen you, essentially, and remind you of something that is gonna damage you, and not do it. He loves you, and he would love to see you get away from that. So I encourage you to read Proverbs 23, Philippians chapter 3, and Genesis 3 and 4 to just get the idea as well. And even to look up other chapters, verses that have particular topics of what you, and look up, like, what does this mean? Like, how can I apply this to my life, and what is God trying to tell me in this chapter? And I encourage you to, outside of this video, go learn. Please go. I encourage you to go learn. I want you to learn. If I'm wrong, I hope you correct me. And I hope and pray that whatever I said was wrong, that God will help actually you stay on the correct path, and that you remember what I was right, and forget what is wrong. But I appreciate you listening to the very end, and I hope this video helped you.